Remember to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me feed my son. As you can see, he's wasting away. Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about a fixed blade that I have grown to love, this Alex Dron small companion knife. I don't know if there's a proper name for it. This is a handmade knife. I guess it's a one-off. I'm not sure how entirely handmade it is, but yes, this is made by a small maker who makes small batches of fixed blade knives. So just check them out on Instagram, AD Knives. I'll put a screeny up right now. This knife was sent to me by Chris in interest mainly of testing the Nitro V steel that this knife uses. And it was a really successful test. The Nitro V, for such a simple recipe, which it really is, it's quite low in terms of having complex elements in it. This knife here did really, really well, cutting I think in excess of 300 times through the rope on the manufacturer's edge. So that's kind of what started the knife's journey with me. But I bond pretty quickly with fixed blade knives that fit my hand well, and this one really does fit my hand well. And so I've used it for all sorts of little companion style jobs. I've carried it for review, but I've also carried it just because I like carrying it. It's a really enjoyable little knife. And this video is going to be largely a positive review of this. Not too much controversial here, it really isn't. As you can see, it's a very simple style knife, but it's got a few little nuances that have made it really hit home with me. So let's break it down. All right, to get the basic numbers out of the weight of this, 156 grams with no sheath, and 260 grams with the sheath. These are all my measurements, by the way. It's 91 millimeters entire blade length, i.e. from where the blade starts actually being separate from the handle. The cutting edge length, I've measured that at 86 millimeters. I try my best to incorporate the curve. The thickest part of the handle is 20 millimeters thick at this portion here, so it's about 2 centimeters thick at the thickest point. And the handle grip area, the part that your hand actually falls in, from where this curve begins to where this peaks here, that's 100 millimeters. I measured it at exactly 100 millimeters. The blade's thickest part is 3.8 millimeters, and it's a 32 millimeter tall blade at the tallest part. The whole knife is 198 millimeters in length, as far as I can tell. And just by way of comparison, the Paramilitary 2, Spyderco Delica, the Emerson A100, the Benchmade 940, the Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife, first version, and an actual good Gerber survival style knife, the Strong Arm. That's a Mora, everyone can enjoy that. And then the Bradford Guardian 4. The blade on this one is made of Nitro V steel, which is a recipe very similar to AEBL, but with a little bit of nitrogen in it as well, I am led to believe. It's a pretty popular steel amongst custom makers due to its relative ease to work with. It must be a decent cost. All the sort of benefits that if you're just making small batch knives would appeal to you. So Nitro V here, and yes, it is ground, as you can see, in sort of a saber style grind, slightly hollow as well, I would guess. And this is a spectacularly ground knife for such a thick blade stock, which is it's quite thick for a smaller knife. To have it really taper down to a really excellent cutting edge isn't as common as you would hope it would be, but this has been done really well by Alex. So it's just an excellent overall blade, but we'll talk about that a bit further. It's got kind of like it's got a satin style finish. It does look like it's a bit of a treated finish. I can't quite tell what it is. It's just the raw steel. All I'm saying is the grind lines are gone. It's kind of like a smooth, opaque finish. So it's really nice as well. The knife came with like a mirror little sort of edge from the maker, and I've only had to sort of touch it up on strops in between all my testing and everything. So it's holding up really well, the overall knife blade. These handle materials, this is like a micarta style. It's got a relative amount of polish to it, but you can still feel like the earthy kind of fabric style texturing just a little bit, but it isn't super grippy micarta. It's just nice. You got the white G10 liners in there as well, just adding a bit of extra color and also a bit of dimension to the scales as well. So those are the overall dimensions and materials and everything like that. The knife comes with this little friction fit Kydex sheath with a leather sort of a dangler attachment system there. I really like this sheath combination. I love the leather. I love the you can snap this on and off, put it in over your belt without having to take your belt off. And then of course Kydex, you really can't go wrong with Kydex. It's got a drainage hole at the bottom. Really well done sheath. This whole package, I believe, cost Chris 130 American dollars, which I think is a great deal for a knife that is almost entirely hand ground and hand finished and hand cut and everything, and a sheath as well. So it's in a good steel that's really well heat treated. I can't vouch for how it was dealing with Alex to get the knife or how it was that whole process went. I don't know. I think it's fine. I just don't. I can't tell you in detail of so I placed the order and I waited this amount of time or anything like that. So that's something I can't quite pitch in on. If Chris wants to jump in the comments, then by all means have at it. But overall, I don't think that process was painful at all. I think it was just like a normal sort of buying a knife from a knife maker process. So as I've sort of led on, this is about my sweet spot. This is my favorite style of small fixed blade. The little companion knives, I like them a whole lot. You see, in Australia, the big knives for me here are just for fun. If I'm actually going camping or going on a long walk, I just like having something small that can do all the little jobs. This would usually be, this is like probably replaced my Falcon Even F1 for my daily lightweight walking knife. Like it's the knife that I've been reaching for lately. I've got a slightly larger knife from Greystone that I really like as well, but this is just my general dual, need a little fixed blade to strap on me just in case I need it kind of knife. So really excellent, and it's definitely about that same class as say the Falcon Even F1 in terms of its probably capability. It's not as kind of bulky in the blade as the F1 is. The F1's got a convex grind and it's probably a little bit more inclined to do okay sticking into something and prying, but really this is definitely filling that sort of role. Just a nice small companion knife that is actually probably going to slice a fair bit better than the Falcon Even, which is realistically more likely going to be the use of a small compact companion knife. So there you go. And as such, it's just been a joy to use. It's ever since I did my rope cutting test with it, where I cut the rope for all that time and it got a really good result for the steel anyway. I've always sort of enjoyed choosing this, and I've always chosen this if I'm just doing something fun with a fixed blade, or just doing an outdoor endeavor and just need to grab a little knife with. I'll slide this into my dog walking bag if I'm not wanting to carry a belt sheath knife around. But overall, I've had no issues actually gravitating towards it. And yeah, I've been taking a while doing this review because I've had other things on, and because this is just one of my permanent knives, I just figure you can get to it when you get to it. But it's been excellent. The knife is ground as such that it has the strength to do your larger jobs, as large a job as you can do with a knife this short. Of course, it's going to be hampered in battening and splitting down wood and pallets and things by the length, but I can still do a little bit of that. It's got the strength, and it's got the saber top here to be able to sort of push that wood apart, breaking that sort of full surface contact of the wood. I found my curliest, nastiest wood in my yard and split a bit of those up just to sort of demonstrate that this edge is tough and the knife is generally tough. You see that wood, it just has like an S shape in it almost. It's crazy, and it did absolutely fine. A real sort of seasoned, dry hardwood. So really, really excellent for that. But of course, then, as I said earlier, Alex has ground it in a way that's really nice and refined behind the edge, and it slides through all of your food and drink and slides through all your food and all of your your cardboard and all your things you cut in a day with a small knife. So really, really excellently done. Look, if you're in a place where you can EDC a fixed blade, this is a great option. It's like probably about the same level of capability as, say, one of the larger cold steel folders or something. You know, those sort of slightly longer 4-inch blade knives, maybe like an AD10 or something like that. You know, you're going to get about the same mileage, but with the benefits of a fixed blade's absolute strength and extra handle comfort, given that there's no channel here. Overall, the knife came really excellently finished. I couldn't fault a single part of the fit and finish, and it just seems to be a really good deal. Because it struck me as like how I would have thought of something like this to be $500 or something like that. But then I don't really have a yardstick to compare others to. I'm very, very limited in my experience dealing with sort of handmade or custom-made knives. What I really like a lot about this, as well as the excellently ground blade, is the handle. The handle is really nicely done. Just simple enough, but a little bit of extra stuff in it that's shown a bit of thought has been put. So he kind of like scallops out an area here and here, whilst keeping the width nice and high for the pinky finger. So Nero did an excellent video on this the other day, where a lot of these handles, they taper off, and they'll have their big bulge here, and this does still have a bit of a palm swell, but then they'll go really skinny in the pinky, and in fact the pinky needs the most area to grab onto. So this handle style here, it accommodates this, and I like to think this is intentional, it accommodates this narrower, so the point between this knuckle and this knuckle is the smallest on the pinky, for sure. So this part, yes, can be narrow, but then it keeps this tallness that your actual rest of your pinky can wrap around, and then this little trough that the tip of your pinky can sit into, making for a really sure grip. There is no problems with the up and down movement on this. In fact, the pinky is one of the last parts of my hand to give when you're maneuvering this up and down. So really, really well done ergonomically, this handle. Really, really sensible design. And you can properly hard use this knife without developing fatigue in any unusual places, just your standard. I'm tired from using a knife for a long time. Fatigue, not much you can do about that, but really excellently done handle. It's got a lanyard hole in it if you like your lanyards. I don't, but if you do, you do. And again, it's a bit sort of, I always struggle to review these kind of one-off pieces because, you know, this could be my example. Maybe he won't make any more. I don't know. But looking at his catalog on Instagram, he seems to certainly have a style, and this knife is very much in his style. This blade shape, these sorts of handles. Check him out on his Instagram. I think you'll really, if this appeals to you, you'll be able to get something that's like a big chopper. You'll be able to get all sorts from him in different steels. You know, I'd vouch for the guy. I think that from this example here, if you can get anything as good as this, I can't see how you wouldn't be happy with it. Don't know what his prices are. Don't know any of that side of it, I'm sorry to say. All I can say is this single example of one of his knives is absolutely excellent. Possibly my favorite fixed blade. Very close, definitely top 3 at the very least. So really, really well done, Alex Stron. Fixed blade manufacturers or like small fixed blade guys, they got it tough. There are so many guys out there making really great fixed blades, so do bump over to Instagram and check him out. Give him a like or something like that. I think he gave Chris a really excellent deal, and of course Chris gave me a wonderful deal by sending this along for testing and then saying, hey, you can use the channel can have it. So absolutely crazy the people you meet in this hobby, but really amazing too. At any rate, I had no need to make this review really, but I just thought I'd spend the time, put a really good small fixed blade maker up to you guys for consideration, and just by all means go and check him out. Alright guys, you all have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta!